All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So obviously last week against the Denver Broncos was, extremely disappointing, losing 9-10 at home with extra time to prepare for a rookie quarterback that had negative passing yards at halftime. Complete disgrace, right? I mean, we were sacked a lot, penalized a lot, confused pretty much from start to finish. Confusion with wide receivers running routes, confusion on the offensive line, blitz pickup. And it also just kind of looked like some players, they just didn't have their best game, right? Sauce struggled, Breece Hall struggled, Garrett Wilson struggled, right? Obviously having that fumble early. So we need a bounce back game here. Now, thankfully, the Jets are only 2-2. We're not 1-3 or 0-4. So, you're looking ahead at this Vikings game. 4-0 Vikings, one of the best teams in football so far. They're not playing like this cupcake schedule either. They beat the 49ers. They have beaten the Green Bay Packers, right? They have played and beaten some really good teams. Houston Texans, right? Completely demolished Houston. And it's a credit to everybody within the Vikings organization, right? Kevin O'Connell does a great job of game planning and play calling, has put Sam Darnold in positions to have success. There's really weapons all over the place. But to me, when I watch the Minnesota Vikings, the standout story for me, the highlight, is the defense. It's Brian Flores' defense. They do so many things really, really well. They stop the run. They pick off the quarterback. They sack the quarterback a lot. They don't get penalized. It's literally one of the best defenses in football, if not the best. So it's going to be a massive test. Now, you're watching the Robert Saleh press conferences throughout the week, and he did say that they're feeling pretty confident about the game. He feels as though the Jets are better prepared this go round than the last time that Saleh's Jets went to London, where we were just, we were blown off the field. So hopefully the coaches have a better, plan of attack here against this Minnesota Vikings team. I think one thing that, for me as a Jet fan, I'm really hoping for is that this defense can return to form. If this defense can look like it did last season, being able to control a Jalen Hurts, a Josh Allen, a Pat Mahomes, being able to go in there, get after the quarterback, pick the quarterback off, confuse him in the back end, that to me, right, if Sam Darnold has one of those games where he just implodes, he's holding on to the football for way too long. He's throwing it up for grabs. He's trying to push the ball into double coverage. He's getting sacked, and he fumbles a lot. Like these strip sacks on Sam Darnold, they've been an issue really throughout the course of his career. If that's the case, I actually like our chances in this game. But here's the thing, right? We're going up against one of the best coaching staffs in football, and we haven't really seen so far this season the Jets coaching staff outcoach the opposition, right? Of course, maybe the Gerard Mayo New England Patriots game, but outside of that, again, we lost to Denver, we lost to San Francisco in week 1, and then week 2 it was back and forth. And to me, Saleh, Hackett, Ulbrich and these guys, Keith Carter, they weren't the reason why the Jets pulled ahead in that Titans game, where we did escape with the W. So for me, this is one of those games where I'm going to be looking directly at the coaching staff. What the heck is the plan of attack? What is it going to be? How do we come out against the Minnesota Vikings? Are we going to come out flat? Are we going to stumble out of the gate? Or are we going to play like our hair is on fire? Was week 4, I thought it was going to be week 1, but is week 4 the real wake-up call that this Jets team needed? I think we are going to need all hands on deck for this game, and not gonna lie to you, I am excited. I think Quincy Williams could have a big day. But with that said, I do not want to see a stale vanilla game plan coming out. We heard Garrett Wilson voice his frustrations about it. He was on the Barton Hahn show. Samini took one of Garrett Wilson's responses. Garrett Wilson wrote back, explaining his response a little further. But look, it's no secret. Garrett Wilson is frustrated. He's right now 41st in receiving yards in the NFL. Garrett Wilson, one of the game's best young wide receivers, is in the 40s in receiving yards. Of course, it's still early, but it that Garrett Wilson, a player of his stature, of his talent level, should not be in the 40s. Breece Hall should not be ranked 30th in overall rushing yards on the season. He's a much better player than that. Conklin has had one really nice game against New England, but outside of that, it's pretty much been silent. Mike Williams and Alan Lazard, but Lazard has had some disappointing plays, but Mike Williams seems to really improve his play from a week-to-week basis. That has been one of the brightest signs of this Jets offense. I love Mike Williams and what he brings to the table, the catch radius, the big play. It also seems, too, like Mike Williams, he's providing a sense of physicality and toughness, which I like. I was not actually expecting that when the Jets brought him in. Being able to, bring in a pass, keep his feet in bounds, and just get leveled. Or, he kind of, we hear the term all the time, right? A wide receiver hears footsteps and they drop the pass. That's not happening with Mike Williams. Like, there's moments where he can tell a safety's going to come down and, come down and try to try to help on a tackle, and he still hangs on to the football, and he's coming up with big, crucial catches. So, again, I think for me, the offensive line it's got to look better in both run blocking and pass protection. Of course, it's easy for me to sit there and say that, but running backs, very, very important. Picking up the blitzers, that's something that I felt like Breece Hall struggled with against Denver. And to be fair, Denver does have a good defense, and they do blitz a lot. It's one of their MOs. It's a tough thing to cover. If it was easy, Denver would not be, that effective against, or as they blitz. So again, it's a lot easier said than done, but I would expect a similar defensive game plan from Brian Flores that we saw actually from the Broncos, which is blitz heavy, blitz from both sides, and including up the middle. I did see earlier that AVT popped up on the injury report, so I'm not really sure what the status is there, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I can't wait to see how it plays out. And we're kind of in the middle of this whole Davante Adams, rumors and speculation and reports coming out, like, I want to say every couple hours. So, obviously that's kind of side by side with this game as far as just importance for the franchise moving forward. Now, whether the Jets win and we're 3-2 or we lose and we're 2-3, I still feel like the pressure should be on the Jets to get the Davante Adams deal done and over with, get him in-house. Because that obviously would be such a massive boost for this team moving forward, with the Buffalo Bills and Pittsburgh Steelers quickly approaching right after this London game. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm actually really excited that this game is in London because, there's so many Jets fans all over the world, and it's not often that, your favorite team gets to go outside of the country. Now, like we talked about before, the Jets have done it a couple times. I remember we actually played Adam Gase and the Miami Dolphins years and years ago. But it's cool for the Jets fans over there. And, you're watching these London games kick off, and, the fan base over there is just incredible. Not only just for the Jets, but, for any team, because they don't really have, they can't just go to training camp and go to games like on the regular. And they're still so supportive. Plus, we have to factor in the time zone, right? I got a buddy named Matt who's a big Jets fan. And I remember, getting messages from him watching the draft. He's like, hey, man, it's 1 a.m. over here. I'm like, dude, that's, 1 a.m. on a work night. I'm like, that's real dedication. So pumped for the fans over there. I'm hoping for a big game. One thing I don't want to hear, and then I'll end the video. One thing I do not want to hear is Saleh in his post-game press conference, right? If things go awry, I don't want to hear, oh, well, we played a good team. They're really good on defense. They're really well coached. We're a good football team too, man. We have the talent. Talent is not an issue with this team. Depth is not an issue with this team. So, in order to be the best, in order to go on a playoff run, we have to be able to compete with some of the best teams in football. We can't constantly be looking up at our opponents. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.